Hey, yo, it's your boy Sam Duke,
It's your man, Tim McKell.
It's your boy Warren P.
and you are listening to another great episode of You
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 good,
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 bruh?
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 Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir, man. Look, back again one more time.
Back
Hey,
again.
I usually we share our topics beforehand, but today I didn't share, and it's funny because we always do this little back and forth, kind of talking, before we record, and this kind of brought this up into my mind state. So recently, I just came back from a male engagement conference.
Hmm.
Um, and y'all forgive if people walking behind me or y'all see what's going on. It's busy. I got stuff going on in my house. Just is
Life
what
be
it is.
lifing.
Exactly. But I just came back from a male engagement conference. It was geared towards early childhood development and education, that kind of thing. But it was a male engagement conference for men with children who are, age birth through 5, and it's supposed to give them a bunch of tools um and a bunch of spaces and opportunities and resources for them to be more active in their children's lives between the ages of 0 through 5. And there was some good sessions like men supporting men, and of course, like mental health sessions and all this kind of stuff. But there was one particular space that was going on in this conference that basically took over the conference. I'm just gonna be honest with you. If you've ever been to a conference, there's always little breakouts or whatever the case may be. There's the morning session, like the keynotes and those things, and those are cool. But then when people break out, this is your opportunity to go to your favorite place. You kind of are looking at what's going on in conference, and you get to see, okay, which one of these rooms do I want to go to, which one of these sessions do I want to go to. And
Hmm.
like I said, there's a lot of subject matter that's provided in there, but there was this one space that was a consistent space throughout the whole conference, and it was called the chop shop. And the chop shop, a part of this conference is the chop shop is it's a space that was in one of the conference rooms where they had barbers, they had tailors, self-care
Okay.
people, masseuses in there, and literally the fellas just go in there. They're in there. It's a big conference room. They either getting their haircut, getting taken care of, but it's facilitated by three or more professionals in some different fields. They're not all therapists, but in some different fields, and they just facilitate and talk. How you doing, bro? What's going on with you? You know what I'm saying? What brings you here? You know, what would you like, for your relationship with your kids to look like? And literally, it turned into what I call, and I mean, what I call something that was earth shaking for me. When I looked at it, I was like, man, this is crazy, because we had men from the age of about 80 to as young as about 19 in one space. And due to the nature of the people who were targeted, is majority black men, but there were white men there as well, and there was some there were older and younger white men there as well. So it was mixed to a degree, but majority of the men there, you're talking about from the age of 80 to about the age of 19, and they're having conversations about the struggles and the things that they're going through, and it was just a beautiful experience to see the knowledge being shared throughout the generations. Like you're hearing a 19-year-old talk about baby mama drama and
Hmm.
and family issues, and you get to hear somebody who's 50 whose kids are grown and been through similar issues and how he handled it, or you get to listen to grandparents who raise kids, and kind of get to hear all of that in one spot. And I'm just letting the chop shop, the conference went on for 3 days. The chop shop basically became the place where every guy every day came
Found
and
himself.
found themselves for hours at a time. And with that being said, I saw this video online, and that's why I wanted to share with y'all, and then we could kind of get into the sacredness of the chop shop. Uh, is it's a video of Iman Shumpert talking about what his first time or first experiences with therapy was like, and so I'm gonna share that with y'all, and then we can get into the conversation.
Shout out to Sean.
Shout out to Sean, man.
I ain't gonna lie, for a long time, I didn't realize that my only therapy was getting a haircut.
Talking to the barber.
Yeah.
Oh, you did the haircut.
But it's crazy. Like, I would never
And you changed therapists, obviously.
switch therapists here and there. You know what I'm saying? Here and there, I use a different therapist when I'm out of town.
No, just not as consistent.
It's but at one point I was like literally like wolfing. If I see him, I'm like, bro, ain't nobody touching my hair.
nice.
But it's like when you do, you don't realize it until you're getting the haircut, because it's also a transformation after you're done.
Good
You
point.
see what I'm saying? So it's like you
Yes.
go there, you like look in a certain way, and the barber's kind of like, how'd you get looking like this, my dog? Like, and you kind of decompress, you're talking,
Yeah.
you just sort of working through stuff, and then he spin you around and hand you the mirror, and you like, I'm a brand new motherfucker. Like, I'm ready to do this.
I love this concept. I
Like,
think it's really beautiful.
so sick. Like,
No,
you
it
never
makes
know.
perfect
You
sense.
never knew as a barber, like, dog, you're a real life therapist. You have to be.
Yes.
Especially if you got people that's coming every week. Like, you got that kid that comes every week, and it's like, you know him. You
Yeah,
damn
that
near-
check-in.
How
did
you
it go?
doing? You know
Yeah,
what I'm
how's
saying?
work?
Did you
How's the
ace
lady?
that test? You was stressed about a test the other day. You was.
Yes.
It's like, you know, the little man. Like, it's crazy. Like, I think a lot of
I
black
love that.
boys, like when you growing up, you don't realize it, but your barber is one of your therapists.
There you
Facts.
Yes, sir. So, you hear about people how they talk about the barbershop sometimes. They call it locker room talk. They speak about, the derogatory things that go on, the toxic masculinity that goes in the shop. And I just want to take some time, man, to highlight the other aspects of what goes on in those shops.
Yeah, I would say you making me think about my lifetime. When I was little, I used to hate going to the barbershop. It was loud. It was always crowded, because this is before they got smart enough to start having appointments. It's like you try to get there before everybody gets, so early on Saturday. You show up.
That's that hurry
You
up
ain't
and
want to be the
wait.
first cut.
Yeah,
Yeah, that hurry up and wait.
hurry
Yep.
up and wait shit, and I used to hate that part of it. However, it was cool when I was growing up, because the guy that owned the barbershop, he and my father had known each other their whole lives, and then his sons were barbers in the shop too. So he was talking to me. He made me feel comfortable, because he had this. He used to cut with razors too, so you had to really be cool with the person. Like, you really have to trust him. But as an adult, I locked into a barbershop here in the A, man, where it was some interesting topics. Like, I put it this way: the current mayor of Atlanta used to get his hair cut there, right? Or he still does, for that matter. He's still the same barber. And the conversations that were had in there were at the same level. And it's kids to teens to cats that are going to the AU. You know what I mean? Like, it was just the whole range. And then you had the older guard, like the Andrew Young age guys that come in there. And you just learn so much shit about not just Atlanta politics, but just how much in common you had with people from different socioeconomic spaces. You were still a black man, and you shared that kind of energy. So even though some of them went to private school, some of them had dropped out of school, when we were in the barbershop, ain't none of that shit come through. Like, it was just, I remember when Andre said he was running for mayor, I was like, what the fuck? Not like a,
You just didn't see it coming like that. Yeah.
it was just like, but then,
man.
yeah, I was like, oh, okay. So then he did it, but he's just a regular guy, and people just, he's from the A, you know what I mean? Like he's an Atlanta dude. And it was just interesting that out of that amalgamation of men, we had a mayor come out that group. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was just interesting. And now that we kind of putting the focus on it, it was a place of comfort. I did look forward to going to get my haircut, but now I shave, so I don't know.
I mean, as y'all know, I
Look
don't
at him.
go
Here
to
you
the
go. Here
barbershop
you
much
go.
Yeah,
often
yeah, pop the hat,
these days.
pop that hood.
These days, I do have a barber that I'll go get a line of only on special occasions.
Right,
but,
right,
like,
right.
He cuts hair out of his, I would say, out of his apartment, but it's prestigious in there, and it's one of those things where you say, where he talked about the therapy appointment, like it's very valid because in that setting, if it's just me and a barber and maybe one other person, it is a very intimate setting because we ask about family, we talking
Yeah.
about not necessarily politics. He really ain't into sports, but we're talking about family, being a husband, the difficulties, the blessings. He has kids, so he'll be giving me game on like, these are the things you need to look out for when
Mm.
you and your wife start trying, when she's pregnant, what she needs to do, stocks, trading, things of that nature. And I do look forward to that because I mean, we're friends first, but he then became my barber. And then my best friend, well, one of my best friends, our relationship grew back in my college days. My boy Tut, he used to cut my hair. Honestly, that's how our
He cut a little
friendship
bit of
started.
everybody's hair in Kennesaw,
Yeah,
man.
that's how our friendship started. He seen me outside one day. I was looking at his whip. He was looking at my whip, and he told me he cut hair. So I'm like, all right. He probably charging less than what I'm getting my hair cut from. And then, shit, my first session, me and him was asking each other about our backgrounds and life, and was like, oh, we got a lot in common. So, and then just grew from there. And then it's one of those things to whereas the barbershop, like, once again, I'm bald, so I don't go often. But as soon as if I have a son, I'm taking him to a barbershop where there are a lot of people just because I want him to get that experience of, cats arguing about sports, cats talking about life. You seeing cats, I don't know if they still do this, but the bootlegger coming in, like I want him.
They still doing it,
Okay,
bro. They
bet.
still doing it,
Nice to
dog.
see these recipes are still being cooked. So
Bruh.
I utilize. So it's
Or
like,
if your
Bruh.
shop hood enough, they the actual bootlegger.
Bro,
hey,
what man? I got a mean jerk chicken wrap the other day.
that sounds like fire.
Oh, it
Yeah,
was
you
on
get out,
point,
you get
man.
my
But I
mouth
mean,
thinking like,
it's a
no.
cultural experience
It
that
is, man.
like. I mean, I ain't going front. I miss that. I miss that shit a lot. Like it's not just the hair loss. It's missing the camaraderie of like brothers. Like when I go to, like, say my boy out of town and I have to go to a barber shop, cats get to debating, discussing, talking about their old ladies, because that's what we say in the barbershop, old lady.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
it's the old lady,
it's a
man.
vibe, and I love it. And I think it's very necessary for man, because I do see that a lot of us are going to a point to where it's so uniform in barbershops now versus that feeling of community, because the barbershop to me is like historical. It it transcends, generation after generation. Like I
So
can
is that
remember
is
my
it the
father
new
taking me
black?
there. Huh?
Is the barbershop the new church?
I wouldn't
The
say
new
that
black
because it's
church?
always been around. I think
Well,
the barbershop is the barbershop and the church is the church.
at one time, the church, the black church, was a place of refuge, a place of where we can go have conversations and not be concerned about COINTELPRO. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
used to be a space where we had community meetings, we had, planning sessions. And I just referred to the current mayor was in the same barbershop and we were talking about this type of stuff. Like
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
it is because you're right. At one time we used to talk about old ladies and this, that, and third. That's what I remember from when I was growing up.
Yeah.
But as I became a man, it changed. The energy changed. It was more about economics. It was more about finances, like you said earlier. But you may get financial advice.
Yeah.
Because the guy that come in there is the guy that has a Series 7 license, but
Yeah.
he ain't got your account. But he like, hey, bro, you might want to buy some of that Apple stock or that Nike stock. Or like he's sharing information. He may have a police officer that comes in there that you could say, hey, bro, this shit went down. Boo, boo, boo. You know, who can we call? Like it sounds like a place where community comes together in terms of the male image. That's what I mean.
I'm gonna say this. I mean, what I have noticed in the last probably like 3 years is that people are starting to uh target the barbershop setting for initiatives that they are trying to accomplish in the community. You know, for instance, you know, you'll see there's a podcast. Who has the shop podcast? Is that LeBron that has the shop? That's his podcast.
Yeah.
That's his
Yeah.
podcast. You have that, and then you have like you'll have, even if it's not in the barbershop, you'll have people bring barbershop to spaces like schools, and they'll bring barbershops to the gym, and create the space so that people who either are not normally going into shops and having mental health conversations or having
Right.
men conversations. They're basically targeting the barbershop setting to have these conversations that aren't being had. For
Yeah.
instance, give you an example. In the chop shop, you know, I attended 2 out of the 3 days. The first day was primarily, you know, the subject was the subject was just, you know, men need spaces. You know, we need more of these. Like the fact that we're able to get away from our children, you know, get away from our family, get away from our normal day-to-day, you know, stuff,
Right.
and actually get to sit with men like us and kind of have conversations about where we're at, whether or not we're struggling, whether we're in a good space, and you know, you're talking about networking, connecting, you know, that building that was going on. The second day it just became straight. I mean, but I think it was in the nature of who they had in there. It was about child support. It was about men and their struggles over time. Like I said, generations and generations of men in their struggle with child support. I'm talking about men that actually have helped change litigation, you know, and making it more fair for men. I think one guy was from Baltimore, and you know, Maryland is considered one of the most fair states when it comes to
Ain't
child
many.
custody. Yeah, there's not a lot, but I'm saying like he was, you know, telling me about their fight in Maryland to kind of make things a little bit more equitable. And I mean, you heard story after story about, you know, men who want to be in their children's lives or who are in their children's lives who have been, you know, have been mistreated to the point of they've been, you know, physically harmed, have been this one dude, he showed us the police report. He was spat on by his baby mama because she didn't like the outcome of a child support hearing. Like there was just so many different, you know, instances where dudes were being able to connect about, you know, and you're hearing advice from the OGs. You know, one guy's just like, "Man, I send that money, you know, she shouldn't be calling me for nothing else." And the OG was like, "Hold on, wait. That money that's money. We start to think that money and time is the same value."
Mm-hmm.
And he was just like, "Look, you send that money, but that time is more valuable." And he's, you know, coaching the young man up because, you know, they're frustrated, you know, with their situation.
Yeah.
And just being able to see that dialogue go back and forth, old guys checking young guys, saying, I thought the same way you thought, and then my kids got older and they don't fuck with me because I sent the money and I didn't never do the time. You know what I'm saying? And then you got another one that was like, "Look, you know, I ended up having to pay $1,500 a month for children that stayed at my house, but that was so because the mom had all the paperwork on her side, and he, you know, it took time for him to get it. Court process is a process, right?"
Oh yeah, that's I was just about to say frustration comes out of a place of ignorance. When you feel like when you're feeling that the system is against you, you feel like it's against you because you're ignorant to how to make it for you.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hearing.
That's
Like
the same. When I tell you that's the same thing, because the guy works at child support office in Baltimore. It's the same thing he was telling them, because he was like, he's asking the men, how many of y'all have disengaged from the process? Y'all don't go up to the courthouse. Y'all don't, y'all
talk
just,
to the clerk,
yeah. He's just like, yeah. He said he won't even talk to the clerk, and they'll be like, oh, well, the clerk was rude. He's like, well, the clerk got a boss. Did you talk to the boss? You know. And they were like, well, I just feel like they don't treat me like, like a person. He's just like, look, as soon as you disengage, they have the right to basically take your rights away from you.
That's it.
And that's literally what he was telling them. And it was those type of conversations. I was like, man, this was good stuff. Like, there were dudes that left with actionable items, dudes that left with laws that they could, they could present to the courts, dudes that were presented with ways they can help change the policy, in whatever states that they were in. Or when they were in North Carolina, he was from Baltimore, so he was trying to tell them how they made their
How to do it.
change in Baltimore. And he was just like, and he was telling them about stuff they have no clue about. He was like, they have to have open forums before they change child support laws. And you have to go in and sit in these open forums. But he's like, but most of the time they empty. And you talk about child support, he's like, what, subset of men is not impacted by this,
Right.
And he's like, but they'll have these open forums before they make changes to the laws, make changes to the formula. You're talking about, in some states, they go based on your gross income. Now, we all know what taxes are, and they were talking about that type of stuff. He was just like, just making a change from gross to net can make a big difference in your formula, and in your livelihood. And so, it was just, for me, it was just powerful to see that conversation happening, and the disarmed, like, because these are, these are men like that you would see in the hood. You know what I'm saying? The majority of them, they were like, they're lower income,
I'm proud that they were at the conference.
Yeah.
Let's start there.
And the good thing about it, you talking about the government paid for them to be there. You get what I'm saying? And so it's good that initiative exists. And what I loved about it is the fact that they were able to take get some education that they need to make their lives better, make their relationship with their families better. And so it's just, for me, it was just kind of cool that they were disarmed in that way, because they came in really, how it is. You come into the situation, they came in like, what the hell is this? They feeding me. I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna chill. But then once they got into the chop shop, their guard just came down. You be in other rooms with them, they wouldn't speak to you. You go in the chop shop, it's what's up. You know what I'm saying?
I told you, man, that place is an equalizer. Like, it don't, barbershops don't care your background. They don't care nothing about it. You are stripped down as a man. You come in there looking raggedy with the expectation that you're gonna be better when you leave. So that's a place that you naturally are vulnerable, because you letting a stranger or somebody you ain't related to put razors to your body with the hopes of. So I'm just saying, think about it psychologically. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you going in there and you looking raggedy and you need to get a cut, and you're like, all right, man, cut me up. I need my beard tightened up. That's a space where you mentally have to let go.
Yeah.
You can't have your guard up for real, right? Otherwise, you're gonna be moving too much. And they go, man, sit still. You're gonna cut yourself. Sit still. So you already are in motion vulnerably. So you hear a topic, and I remember this too. Now that you made me think about it, I would hear people talking about shit, and I felt compelled to give my 2 cents.
You gotta speak, right? You gotta say something.
I gotta say something. And then they be like, well, come on into the conversation, because it's not like, hey man, mind your fucking business. It's like, what now? Oh man, that's crazy. I didn't think about that shit either. Like, it just that's wild.
I was gonna say, speaking of that, like, what? Because we go to the shop. There's conversations, right? What's your favorite? What's your favorite type of barbershop conversation? Because there's he listed it. Warren listed it. It's like sports. There's all kinds of stuff.
I mean, when I was actively going, Kobe versus Jordan was always the one I was pro Kobe. I mean, I do think Jordan is better overall, but at the time,
Kobe's
you
your
couldn't
guy.
tell me nobody was better than Kobe Bryant. That, and then to be frank, when cats would talk about how to deal with their wives or girlfriends, because I remember when I first started dating my wife now, uh, and I was at a shop and I'm chopping it up, some dude talking, and this is when we were about to move in with each other. And I'm just telling my barber, yeah, I'm about to move in with my lady. He gave me some game. The dudes around gave me some game. And as I was leaving out, one dude goes, "Young man, let me talk to you for a second." Never met the guy in my life. We outside the barbershop, and he talked to me for like 30 minutes straight on like, hey, these are some of the things you need to look out for. These are some of the things you need to do. Like, understand X, Y, and Z. And I still apply some of those things that he taught me at that moment in my marriage now. And like that, those were the because even as a teenager, like, mind you, dealing with women, my mom wasn't in the house because she had passed. So I'm learning from other men, like, okay, these are the things you need to do. These some of it was bullshit, don't get me wrong. Some of it was bullshit, but the ones who you could kind of get a sense, not saying these gentlemen were perfect, that truly love their wives, will give you good game on, like, yo, how to keep her happy. Like yeah. And we alluded to this on the last podcast. He was the man that taught me. He's like, hey, 9 times out of 10, brother, you gonna be wrong even if you right. But that one, you stand on that one, my brother.
That's a good one. What about
So those
you,
are my
Kev?
two.
What's your favorite barbershop conversation?
I'll be honest with you. I think I learned more from watching or experiencing the barbers hazing each other. You know what I mean? Like because they know their lives. They know they got kids. They know that they're married. They know their finances. And one of the barbers had just he was a new father, and he was trying to do it, I guess, the best way he knew how, but it wasn't sufficient enough for the men that were in there that day. And they were letting his ass have it. It was just like, yeah, you what picked her, you picked her. Like it was just like, damn, bro, like this is child mama, like chill out. Oh no, you on some weird shit. She on some weird shit. That's what happened. Now you got to straighten up and do fuck. Like it was just such a real ass. It was them clowning him, but like I always say, there's truth in jokes, right? So it was like, he like, oh man, fuck y'all, I did that. But at the same time, it was some sage shit that was being said, just in a very hood way. That's one of the things that kind of stick out to me. The other one was just the geopolitics conversation, because I think one of the things that I hear often, just as I think a stereotype, is that black people don't know shit. They don't know what's going on in the world. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm sitting in there, I'm learning more in that barbershop than what I was learning in class. This was when we were still at Kennesaw. I'm learning more at the barbershop than I was in the class about geopolitics. I had never really thought about Israel. Ironically, what's happening right now, right? I had never thought about Israel or how it became to pass. I wasn't worried about that. I was worried about getting shot by cops. Like that wasn't in my front of my mind. And this brother walked in there and he started breaking all of that shit down. To know this brother, you wouldn't think it was into that. But he literally, I mean, and then I went back, man, I'm gonna go back and look it up. He was right on all accounts. So anytime I learn something, I find that as a great experience. Also, how many fathers brought their children there before I even had kids.
Yeah,
they were bringing their kids in. I was seeing how they were working with the kids, and how the kid even engaged with me, and they were like, "See, that's a good brother right there. He's cool." They would like teaching, like all that shit is what come to mind when I think about when I go often. Now when I've taken Miles, you know, the owner of the barbershop, he's very free. He's a free thinker in the terms of what it is today.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I get
and so he thinks Kanye's on point.
Kanye
So that
took it.
all
He's one of those.
Okay.
Everything. He's
Yeah.
one of those almost the anarchist. He's just like,
right.
You
And so
need those though.
Well,
You
I
need
mean,
those in the barbershop.
look,
well, he's there. He runs the shop. It's his shop.
they make good conversation
Yeah,
too. I
it
ain't gonna
made
lie.
good
Like,
conversation. And to hear, you know, the engagement from the other barbers, he includes you, and then, you know, he actually listened to me. Like he ain't changed his mind, but he listened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's like
that's a start.
that's a start.
Because you talk about somebody that's anti everything, anti-establishment.
But you know,
While running one.
I mean, but that's what I'm trying to say. Like it's
Yeah.
right while running one, and so to me, I think right now that gets my gears going because, you know, I don't think I'm an anarchist or anything like that. I'm definitely free of the word patriotism. Like I'm not into that.
Yeah.
That right now, patriotism is a dirty word to me. You know
Can I
what I'm
say
saying?
something to that?
Go ahead.
And then we'll get right back on topic.
Mhm.
Dear world, well, mainly U.S. I am very worried that when people have an American flag in America, it's looked at as a negative thing.
Yeah,
That is a problem.
that's
Black,
the problem.
white, Asian, Latino,
is.
whatever you are, it should be okay for a person in their country
to
to
rock that
have
flag.
their flag up.
Yeah.
And
I'm
it mean, yeah.
I say this. I mean, and I say this, and I add my story to it.
Go ahead.
My children were singing "My Country 'Tis of Thee" last night during dinner, and you know I'm here by I'm a single father this week, so I'm I'm fathering. We having conversations at the table, and you know they're singing all these. They go from that to singing the Star Spangled Banner, and you know they're like, oh yeah, we used to do this in the pledge every day, and I sat there, I was just like, man, like, do I even believe in any of those words that they're saying in that song? You know, like,
Mm.
you know, that was just me. That was my. I didn't say this to them because I do believe in patriotism to a degree. Like for because you're here, it's your country. This is this is the system you're living under.
I mean, that's more
It's-
self-preservation.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't. I can't swap it out for them without giving them something else. You know what I'm saying? That's just my take. And so, so yeah, I allow that to I call it indoctrination, but to a
Mhm.
degree, I allow it. Yeah, I'm okay with it to a degree. They're gonna know the real whenever when we have discussions. But to me, it was just I was like shocked that when growing up, it wasn't even a question to me that I was considered patriotic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't even something. I don't think my mom was questioning her loyalty to this country when she brought herself and her family here. Like I don't think that was it wasn't synonymous with with Warren saying like it seems like a bad thing to have your flag.
Hey,
With
these
that-
people. If you want to wear your flag, wear your flag.
Hey man, but what he's saying though, this is literally what the barbershop conversation sound like, right?
Mhm.
And my favorite conversation in the barbershop is always spanning. It has some type of religion tied to it. I enjoy hearing people's perspective on religion. I enjoy to hear people religion and history because they kind of go hand in hand.
They go hand in
So
hand.
Can I
so
just-
when
I
Go
just
ahead.
want to add, is your favorite debate between, because I love when a good Muslim and a Christian go at each other.
Oh
My
man,
God, boy, I need a front row.
Ooh.
You went for
Ooh,
those two.
when you get a good Muslim against a good Christian in the barbershop, oh man. The
Oh man.
Or a
and-
Negro like me that know
oh,
both.
and that's what I was gonna say. I was about to make that bridge because for me, You know, I know for the most part, I know both, and I read the Bible cover to cover a couple times. So it's like that's just one of my things. And so when people get in there and they get to arguing, I understand historical context. And so I enjoy those type of conversations because you always realize people be so into their stuff
Yeah.
that they don't really, look at the other stuff. And you had people that grown Muslims their whole lives didn't know that half of it was the Bible, right? And then
Right.
you have and vice versa. You have people
Or part of the Torah.
or part of the
Yeah.
Torah. Yeah, you have people that didn't know that they grew up their whole lives Christian and didn't know that the Torah
Old
and
Testament.
the Old Testament is pretty much majority the same. And so it's just interesting to kind of. I'm usually that person with the random facts, like
Boys be
it's
mad.
actually
you stirring the pot.
yeah, oh yeah, because it's a good time, and I feel like everybody should leave educated with more perspective. That's just me.
Right.
And so I have really enjoy it. My grandfather was 50-year pastor, by the way, so that's right. I really enjoy the religion conversation, and I grew up in church, so it's just fun to hear men kind of go about it, because you're gonna hear the men that don't have any. They're atheists. They think it's ridiculous. It's used by the white man to to
you making a point that. So I remember, to borrow your point, I remember people that were new in the Lord is what we used to call it, meaning they just got saved.
Yeah.
So their energy is radical.
Oh yeah, they hot.
Radical. They hot for the Lord.
They got the spirit. Yeah.
And I've seen their bubble get busted.
Oh.
By older Christian that ain't necessarily not for the Lord, but just like, where did you get that? And they know the word better, and they're able to, like, I have seen folks get broken down to the very last compound up, and it'd be the same religion.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what that space is a sacred space. I think barbershops are a sacred space. But we don't really acknowledge it that way. We know it. I mean, what's my man? Math has the podcast where he's in a barbershop.
We feel it.
Math
Yeah.
What is it called?
I know it's Math.
My expert opinion. Expert
Yeah.
opinion. So it's about hip hop. It's about rap. But all the conversations happen in the barbershop, because one of the things about the barbershop, you ain't gonna come in there with no bullshit. You ain't finna start no fights. You ain't finna, like, people that violate the barbershop space ultimately get completely disrespected in the community. Like,
for those that know, who are in certain lifestyles, the barbershop and church are considered off limits.
Off limits.
Off limits, yeah.
Off limits.
Like,
so
off limits. You handle that shit across the street,
right?
but not in
here.
this place.
Not in this place.
And if you are, let's say you're a young member in one of these organizations and you step out of line with that, the OGs will make sure you are reprimanded publicly so this doesn't happen again. And the rest of the organization knows, like, hey, this is off limits.
Off limits. This is a sacred space. And I think that, I don't know, it's just making me think about, how can we have more of that?
Yeah.
Because obviously it's needed, and most people ain't getting the haircuts like they used to. Now they getting twists, they getting all this other stuff, and the beauty salon just ain't sacred.
Nah, the
it just ain't sacred.
They ain't that, bro. You're gonna be in the group chat by the time you leave,
right?
That I'm gonna let you know right now. You get your head twisted up, bro. Chill, okay? Your ass gonna be in the group chat.
Keep your mouth shut.
I mean, but what place could be that though? That's outside of the barbershop. If we asking that question,
yeah.
Because for me,
I mean,
I can't.
I say this because outside of
like hooping.
But to be honest with you, outside of that, hooping is a real close, but there's not a lot. There's action going on, so you can't really get the convos that you need. And I think the beauty of the barbershop, I'll say this, is actually the sober mind. It's like a sober space. When men get together, we tend to turn up. You know, we tend to be like, all right, shots, with it, you know,
Right.
roll up, we about to go, you know, but literally you walk into, and not to say that you don't walk in high, but whatever the case may be, it's not an active, it's
Yeah.
not an
It's not
active,
promoted
You ain't
as a
rolling
yeah,
place
it's
to
up.
not
come
You
get
ain't
promoted.
it.
rolling up in the barbershop.
No, you're not. You're not. It's
Your ass
a
outside.
sober space. It's a sober space. And so you got a bunch of black minds, black male minds coming together in a sober space to have conversations that really impact us. It's nothing like it. There's no other
Damn.
space like it.
That keeps sober.
There's no other place like it. Even if, and to be honest with you, even when you talk about church, church is not. I love church, by the way, but I wouldn't consider church a sober space. I think you doped up on the vibes, on the fields, on what the pastor got. What you know, what when you walk into church, you know you got that. You know you get the
That
feel when
praise
you
team
walk
got
in
you
there.
popping in there.
Yeah, like you know the feel of when you walk into church. You feel there's a certain thing, certain way you got to be, a certain way you can't speak. It's not a sobering, grounded space.
Yeah, you can't be on nigga shit in there. If you
Yeah,
want
like
to.
it was like, oh, you in the church, you can't speak like that. You can't. I mean, because you know I cuss all the time. I get that all the time when I'm at church. They're like, nigga, in the church, like I be like, yeah, bro, I'm just like that. You know, me and God gonna have to reconcile that when I get up there. But it's for me. I feel like barbershops are a grounded space. It's like,
Mm.
like you said, equal opportunity. It doesn't matter who you are. You know, you could be a football star. You could be the basketball coach down the street. You could be like literally, it's everybody coming together and we just sitting. And I think you know how, and we could take it deeper. I believe that things happen in spiritual realm before it happened in the real world. And
Mhm.
so all these black sober men congregating in one space, their spirits are having conversations, and then it come to fruition. It comes out in the natural. It starts in the spirit. Our spirits are like, oh, there's some goodness in here. There's some things we need to hash out. There's some perspective in here. And then it comes out into the conversations that we decide to have in the natural.
And I do think that is part of the reason why. I mean, it may not be as much now, but past 2 or 3 years that they tried to attack the barbershop. I forgot the show that was. I forgot that little clip about some lady getting a haircut. She walks out the barbershop because men are acting crazy and saying obnoxious things. To whereas in every barbershop I've been in, when ladies come in, especially with their kids, hey, bro, even if
Respect.
you was having a
Yeah,
crazy
yeah,
ass
yeah.
conversation, we
Respect.
got to
Yeah.
switch that conversation.
Turn it off.
They leave,
Yeah.
we'll go right back to
Right
it.
back to
So
it,
it's just
yeah.
like, yeah. And it's a place to whereas in masculinity is trained in the proper way in a barbershop. And I am one of those people that, and I know we've discussed it before, but I do think there is an attack on masculinity, especially in this country, especially when it comes to black men. So me seeing the attacks on the barbershop or trying to discredit things in regarding the barbershop, I do think that is an attack on a black space that provides peace, joy, refuge for men that look like me.
I mean, and
That's my
I think,
conspiracy theorist bag right there.
well, I say this because I think that you know there's two things. Two
Mhm.
things can be true. There are conversations had in the barbershop. Like I think that you know when people talk about the conversations that can be locker room talk, whether it be the homosexual conversations. Sometimes we talk about homosexuals, or we're talking about women, how we speak about women. Not saying that women are in the presence when it's happening, but I do feel as if that people don't understand. There's always gonna be multiple perspectives in the shop. There's always gonna be somebody to say, "Hey man, that bitch, yada yada yada," and then there's always gonna be somebody that's like, "Hey bro, we don't talk. We don't talk like that." It's always gonna be that back and forth, that push and tug, but it's gonna be respectful most
Yeah.
of the time. Most of the time, and I think that people think that we go into these shops and and everything goes. You get what I'm saying? For everybody. They think that okay, this is where guys go to be their worst selves or have their worst conversations or and what it is it's authenticity. It's the fact that we're not monolithic. It's the fact that we have different minds,
Can take the
and
mask off.
and not just that, and we're men and we can take it. We can take the fact that this man right here, it may be disrespectful towards women, and still continue to have a conversation with him, and maybe, who knows, change his mind. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe give him a different perspective. We can take the fact that, some harsh words are said and not let that stop the progress of the conversation. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's the part of the space that, you know, I don't know if it's our sisters or, a subset of us don't understand, is that, yeah, it can get a little different, but we built for it. You know what I'm saying? It can get a little rough in there. It can get a little raggedy in there, but we built to handle that. And that's a part of, being a black man.
Oh, that's interesting. I unfortunately in my lifetime, I say unfortunately, have been privy to a beauty salon and beauty salon talk. Because when my mom used to go get her hair done, my sister go get her hair done, my father wasn't home from work. So guess who had the role? I don't think that their conversations are any different than ours. Or now that I think about it, as an adult, when I was in entertainment, I've had to be in the presence of beauty salon talk, because of who we're working with. I would argue that it's worse.
I ain't gonna say that because I can't
I
speak on it, but I do think we are the same. Like, it would be equivalent. Like, they ain't finna. I don't look at the women in there just singing gospel hymns and stuff like that. They talking women shit too, just like we talking men shit.
Well, I think I agree with you, Mikhail, but I think I think we don't give a fuck. You get what I'm saying? I think that men
Valid.
don't really care about how women are talking in their spaces. I think women
no,
really
I,
give.
yeah, I don't think we do. I'm just making a comparison when
Don't
when
think
he
I
was saying
know.
that the young lady was in the barbershop and she got offended because men were being men as it was in that space, for whoever that barbershop was. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, I've seen more. They don't have, I haven't seen where their beauty salon is a protected space. Like, they get into fights, they'll get into shouting arguments. They would just, and they won't speak. People, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've
Yeah,
seen that.
yeah.
But I've seen barbers get into arguments and
The next day,
next day, like it
they
never.
My bad, bro. I was tripping.
yeah. I mean,
Right.
niggas be in
Or
there
that.
fight. They got into it, hooking over a Madden game or some shit, and then the next day they right back at it. I- it's a man thing. You know what I'm
I
saying? I'm just
I
being real.
will say this because, and I don't want to speak too much about it because I know I think with us, we listen to our OGs more versus I would see in other places because I talk with my wife, her women friends, the women friends that I have. When I say like, yo, how often do you talk to your elders, or do you allow your elders to check you on certain things? She don't know what she talking about. Like, that type of shit versus like if Mikhail is my OG. So and he knows this. Well, both of y'all know this. If I'm wilding and Mikhail, does that Mikhail shit, I will be mad in the moment, but it'd be like, you know what? That nigga right, man. Like,
It's the funniest thing
I
though.
gotta chill, man.
You know
Let me correct myself.
what's so funny about that is because in the moment we'll be like, nah, hell nah, man, fuck that, nah, hell nah. Like, and we know he gonna calm down. And actually follow. He come back the next week like, yeah, man, appreciate y'all for that shit.
Yeah,
Man.
because even when you hearing it, you mad, but like you hearing it and the shit make all the sense in the world, but you want to be in that feeling like, man, fuck all that shit. Like, I'm angry. I want to stay angry. But you like, man, now that I have this information and I've processed it, it's like, all right, man, he ain't leading you astray, bro. Like, he ain't finna tell you some shit that you know that's gonna potentially hurt you.
Nope.
And I think when you in those type of environments, like I said, the random gentleman, that man ain't pulling me to the side to beat me down. That man was pulling. He seen a young brother in himself, like, hey, whew, I remember when I moved in with mine, boy, it was a little bit tough in the beginning, but
Right.
let me prepare you for the situation the best I can.
Bro, same thing happened to me, man. That's the beauty of it, man. Because I went, the barbershop is included in all of your big moments. You know, I was getting married. You gotta go get a haircut before you get
Cut.
married. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go
Graduation.
graduation. You gotta go get cut, and
Driver's license picture.
same thing. And so literally, when I went to go get my cut for getting married, it wasn't even my barber that cut me because my cousin, who's my barber, got sick, and I had been going to the same barbershop for so long. I walked in that thing and they knew, hey, they knew I was getting married that weekend, and they basically fought to be the one to cut me. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, nah, man, let me get you. And the same thing happened the whole time I'm getting my cut. Everybody that's married is like, hey, man, you need to think about this. You need to make sure, I made this mistake. You know what I'm saying? Don't do it like that. You know what I'm saying? And that's the beauty of it. It's literally it's a it's a it's a communion. You know what I'm saying? We getting in and we're communing with one another. We breaking bread. It's a true fellowship.
And to throw something in there for my single women with sons, if there is a man that you trust in your life, like, it don't necessarily be a boyfriend, it could be a brother, it could be a close friend, I would ask of you, could you ask that man, like, hey, can you take my son to the barbershop? So, because I will be 100 with you. If you in the shop, say you look good, you don't look good, the same type of conversations aren't going to be had. Doesn't mean they're going to be bad conversations, but there's a difference in how men do things when a woman is around versus when she isn't around. How authentic he can be because he doesn't want to say the wrong thing that may come off disrespectful or say something that may potentially offend you, but the young man needs to hear or get these lessons from other people. So from your boy, if you do have a person in your life, a male in your life that you trust to take your son to get his haircut, just ask. Maybe not every time, but like every now and again, like, hey, can you take my son to the barbershop so he can get a cut? And then that builds his trust in seeking leadership from elder men. So when he's a man himself, he knows that he has to pay that forward later on down the line.
Man, I heard something this week, and it was talking about I think it was Charleston White, and I don't like Charleston White, but he be on point sometimes. And
Clock is right twice.
and he
Yeah.
was talking about how, even for the single mothers out here, that your son still needs to experience love from men. And it is your job, if you don't have men in his lives, to find men that will love on your son. And of course, he was just talking about from a boy's perspective. But I think that we always talk about how children need both that masculine love, that feminine love in their lives. And so that what Warren is saying is creating an avenue so that your son can be loved on, by a man that's close to you, and he can be loved on by a community of men too. Because when the little guys come in, you know it's all love for them in the
Yeah.
shop. You know what I'm saying? It's all love for them in the shop. Look at the videos of the boys getting their first cuts in the shop. Man, the whole shop is mesmerized. They're on little man encouraging him. When he get that cut, he getting dap from everybody. You know what I'm
Correct.
saying? And that's the love about the love within that community. That's just a beautiful thing. So people like to rag on the shop, man, and
Nah, I
I,
miss it. Trust me.
I
From a bald
it's
man, I miss
it's
it.
it's a
Yeah, I
beautiful
was sitting
thing,
there
man.
thinking I do kind of miss doing it now because shit, I don't even go no more because Courtney, her hairstyle requires her to get a haircut. So she just be taking miles with her.
Mm.
Like, and I'm like, damn, is that a violation? But at the same time, like I'm rolling down there and ain't getting no cut. I was just chilling
Yeah, that
when I
shit.
could be doing some work.
Nigga, I gotta
No,
do. Nigga, I'm gonna have to do
I
it if I have a son. I ain't gonna get
I
no
mean,
cut,
but
but he going.
that's because your wife ain't got no, fly ass. Like Courtney got to have the fly shit. She content
Nah,
creator.
don't
She
rob
Yeah.
that man.
I ain't robbed him, yo. Like we started well, the first 10 years of his life was me and him. Like, you know what I'm saying? So this is just something recent.
Oh, he
But the
about to go
point,
into the teenage years too? Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's the
man, you
time.
got you got to be there. It's the good
It's the time.
combos,
You got to go
man.
with him.
man,
Dog.
It's the good
we gonna
conversations,
see.
man.
We gonna see what's happening.
But yeah, man. Look, man, to rap, man, I want to shout out my barber, man. My barber is my cousin. His name is Matt. He's been
What up,
cutting
Matt?
he learned to cut hair on my head. So I
Haircut
tr-
on
I
demand.
I trusted this man. He's been cutting my hair now. I don't know how old I'm 34. He's been cutting my hair now for over 20 plus years.
Wow.
Yeah, we started in middle school, and literally he learned to cut hair on me and my brother's heads, and I won't go to nobody else, man. My wife be like, he all the way, I'm like, look,
Don't matter.
he gonna get my money, man. He gonna get my money because he was cutting my hair for free for years,
Mm.
for free, and then he started cutting my hair for $4 every week. You know what I'm saying? For free. I mean, for $4, then for free. So at
Right.
the end of the day, he gonna get my money. Even during the pandemic, I sent him my money, and so that's how much I love the people
And for future cuts.
yeah, nah, bro. Just hey, you gotta live. Everybody stopped going to get their haircut during the pandemic. You know what I'm saying? I was like, bro, my boy gotta live. I gotta send him his money, and that's how much. I mean, I don't trust a lot of people in the service industry. It take me some
Yeah.
time,
Shout out to
and
Keith Lee.
yeah, but when you find some good service people, man, some good folks, you gotta hold them down, man. Any last words for the barbers out here?
Oh man, shout out to my boy Spud Cuts, man. Right up, if you in the Smyrna, Vinings, Cobb County area, hey, it ain't an official cut if it ain't a Spud Cut, man. Shout out
Shout
to
them
you, my
out.
boy.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Ace Grooming. That's the name of my boy spot, Ace Grooming.
I'm about to say in town, hair salon, and barbershop. Now he's changed the name. Now it's a man spa. The in
Ah,
town man spa.
he took it up a notch.
Pick it up a notch,
There you
massages and
go.
everything else. You know what I'm saying? And my homeboy Rashad over here in Cobb. So
Oh, my boy Jeremy too. Stephanie Washington's husband. Jeremy cuts a lot of people I know here. Hey, that boy's
So
amazing
shout out-
what he does.
Hey,
Randall. I meant to say Randall in town. It just
there
because
we
he ain't
go.
gonna text me and be like,
There
"Hey,
we go.
bro, I
Hey,
heard the episode."
y'all send me the links. We'll tag them to the episode, man.
Okay.
Look, man, for more conversations like these, man, make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. You Good Bro Podcast on Instagram, Facebook. You Good Bro Pod on Twitter, on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe. Send it to 4 or 5 people that you know need it, because that's what keeps us going, guys. We really appreciate all the love, support. I'm Sam Dupe, and I'm good.
Hey, I'm Tel McKell. I am good.
It's your boy Warren P, and I'm good.
All right, just like that. We out.
Oh,